All right, so hello, check 1, 2, 3. Good evening. Anything to ask? Any curiosity, any counter argument from whatever we discussed? Anything? No. All right. So just to have a quick recapitulation of the whole story, we were trying to understand. First, I told you that what are those topics which I will be taking care of. Financial market, then international economy, that means balance of payment and certain institutions. Then we'll talk about infrastructure, we'll talk about investment models. That's the overview I gave and what could be the potential sources for it. Then we tried to understand that what exactly financial market means. I told you what is finance. Finance, as Baxter rightly says, refer to availability of money or fund when and if needed, be it for investment or for consumption. And in that case, that system which provides us finance can be called as the financial system. Generally, when we say financial system, it can be seen at governmental level called as public finance, it can be seen at corporate level to be called as corporate finance, or at individual level as private finance. On the other hand, I told you what is market. Market is that very place where the buyers and sellers are coming together, right? That can be called as market. And I told you that market could be what is called primary market or the secondary market. Primary market is that place where the things are being purchased and sold for the first time, and once sold then rebought or repurchased is what you can call as secondary market. So financial market can be briefed to be that place where finances are being made available one or the other way when and if needed. I told you that when it comes to investment, we can have two types of investments. One you can call as debt instruments or debt investments, or other you can call as equity investments, right? We have discussed tidbits here and there. On the debt instruments, I summed up that they can be largely subdivided into two. The financial market can be subdivided into two to be called as money market if it is up to 1 year, and it can be called as capital market if it is more than a year. In the money market, when it comes to debt instruments, we have seen that they are given on discount. And if issued by the government for 91 days, 182 days, or 364 days, can be called as treasury bills. This might be significant to note here that only central government can issue treasury bill, not the state governments. They are not entitled for. Then I also told you that when it comes to these treasury bills, as they are given on discount, but the minimum criteria is 91 days. However, if it is less than 91 days, we alternatively can use the term cash management bill. They are given on discount. That means on the lesser value than the face price. And when you are getting it the face price, that the profit is the difference. However, it can be issued by the companies to be called as commercial papers. I have also told you that why it is very significant that we need to have good credit rating. For governments, we have largely Fitch Group, Moody's, or for that matter, Standard & Poor's. These are the three major international agencies which rate governments. When it comes to companies back home in India, we have 7 major, what you can say, credit rating agencies, CRISIL, CARE, these kind of. However, when commercial paper is there, it is imperative that the commercial paper must have what is called very good credit rating. It should be into the A series only. Then I also told you that when it can be issued by the banks to be called as certificate of deposit, but the minimum value of the certificate of deposit is 1 lakh rupees, and banks can issue up to 1 year. This is important to note that some of the financial institutions can issue certificate of deposit even up to 3 years. 1 to 3 years is the time on which they can issue. Then I told you that when it comes to these treasury bills or cash management bills or these entire money market instruments, to provide a secondary market to them, we got what is called DFHI on the recommendation of the Waghal committee. This DFHI actually provides the secondary market for these treasury bills, commercial papers, certificate of deposits, and so on. On the other hand, when it comes to the capital market, they are issued on the face value, and whatsoever the face value is, on that interest can be given. In case of government, we prefer the term coupon instead of interest, and that's why I told you that treasury bills are called zero coupon bonds. However, here, the government can offer it in fixed coupon rates or floating coupon rates, or sometime adjusted with inflation indexed bonds. To make it more clearer, for sake of central government, we call it dated government security. In case of states, we call it state developmental loans or SDLs. And when companies are issuing it, we call it debentures. Though I told you that European countries, particularly the UK, they still prefer the term bond for it. Then we got this money market, capital market. When it comes to the capital market, I told you that they can be again bought and sold in the secondary market. These debt instruments can be purchased and sold in the secondary market, which is enlisted with the SEBI. So that's how we talked about, a little bit briefly, but I also refer to that in a very major breakthrough, RBI had said that these treasury bills or securities can be purchased directly by the small investors with the amount of 10,000 rupees up to 2 crore rupees, and that will be called as direct retail gilt account, which will be a kind of demat account in which they can directly open it. However, there is a slight difference that there are no payment they have to pay for this account. So that's how we got when we talk about the debt instrument. We have done this far. Any clarification solicited? Anything not clear? If all right. So I'm assuming here the question is, Lakshya is asking, sir, can public sector enterprise issue commercial papers? Yes, they can. Anyone whose credit rating is good. It all depends on the credit rating. So most of the central public sector enterprises can issue commercial. They do issue, let me say it this way, they do issue commercial paper for their short-term needs. When needed, they can issue it. All right, so most of them are saying no question. No at the rate Subham. All right. Fine. Now, who regulates primary market and secondary market is the question. When it is government securities, it is regulated by RBI. For rest of the cases, we have SEBI. We'll talk about that gradually. We are gradually climbing up now. Now, questions are something which is definitely making you more interested. So, one question is there, the demat. I'm coming to that, what is demat account and how it is. Let's step gradually. So I hope you got this concept of, one or two students have said they want to know about demat account little more, not clear yet, we'll talk about it. So I hope the debt instruments are clear. Let's come to the equity instruments. And eventually a few things will be clear to you. Equity instruments. Again, as I tried in the previous class, I'll go step by step, giving you the logic behind it, that why this thing was done. Equity, I told you, is about offering the share, offering the partnership, that let's be my partner. So in the debt instrument, I take loan from you, irrespective of the fact that whether I'm in profit or loss, I'll pay you your money and your debt, that's it. That's it, right? You have nothing to do with my company and so on. So you just gave me the money and I paid you the money after a certain period of time with the interest. That interest is a profit, and that's how the deal was. Now, what is equity instrument? Equity instrument is something where I'm offering share. Let's understand something. Let's go back somewhere in 15th, 16th century. Just listen this story for 5 minutes, and then I'll connect it something to what is relevant to our discussion. You know what? There was some big changes happening as we got technological advancements. You know that in Europe, 12th, 13th century, 14th century, we got technological advancements coming up. That, you know, they now started knowing how to sail better, how to go into, in fact, Columbus, when searched this new land called America, was a major breakthrough for Spain. As you know, he was from Spain. So what happened now, suddenly, many companies wanted to do trade in these places here and there, and a problem was felt. Let's say I want to do trade and I want more money. What I thought, why not to offer some partnership to somebody else, and this way we can go bigger. Let's say there's a company from Spain who want to go to America to do business, or a company from UK who want to go to America to do business, or a company from France want to go to India and to do business. So East India company from UK want to go to India and want to do business. They need partners. They realized one thing, that there could be one option. Understand this process. This is exactly how it happened and how it grew to something. What they said, let's say their company's value is total value, means I told you the term stock for it. What is stock? The total money you have on a given period. So let's say a company, let's say East India company, for example. East India company might realize in England that now they want to go to do business in India and they want more money. So better if there are more partners coming. So what they did, let's say this company said, whatever their market capital is, let's say the capital was 100 rupees. 100 rupees. They said, I am offering partnership. I'm offering partnership. How that can be done? They said, whatever my value is, they made an agreement. Let's say 1 rupee is the value of this paper, and those who are having this 1 rupee of East India Company, this particular paper, those who are having 1 rupee, that means they are 1% partner of this company, because the capital was 100 rupees. 100 such papers were made, and those who get this paper, they will be the owner or the partner in that company. This process was called flotation. So what is flotation? Flotation is that now I said I am offering partnership to other people. If you want to come and become partner, do one thing. Whatever my total stock is, whatever my total capital is, I'm dividing into equal amounts of shares. That's how the term came, shares. So if somebody got 1 rupee, 1% share. Somebody got 10 rupees, 10% share. Somebody got 20 rupees, 20. That's how it was. In fact, you might have heard that when RBI was made, how RBI was made? The initial value was 5 crore rupees. So they made 5 lakh shares of 100 rupees, and that's how we got the total value of RBI, 5 crore. That's why you might have heard the term paid up capital. So they said this 100 rupee, this is the value of my company. I am making legal documents for it. Whatever the value is divided into equal pieces, called as share or equity. So we got equal pieces, and for 100 rupee company, let's say I made 1 rupee 100 share, or 10 rupee 10 share, or 50 rupee 2 share, whatever you want to say. Now who will purchase this will become with that % owner. So let's say East India Company issued this, somebody purchased it, gave money to the East India Company, and whatever the value they had will be their respective percentage. Now, when this was being done initially, this is how European companies started getting partners now. But again, there was a problem, that how I come to know who could be the partner, what could be the way out. This problem was sorted out at Amsterdam. Amsterdam, you know, the Netherlands, which was the hub of economic activities in that time. At Amsterdam, they said, why not to have a place where these things can be purchased and sold? You can easily purchase these things. Let's have a place where we can do this exchange. That's how we got the term stock exchange. Stock exchange. In the Netherlands, around 18th century, late 18th century or early 19th century, in the Netherlands, we got stock exchange. Stock exchange came. In fact, in India, we got our stock exchange way back in 1875, called Bombay Stock Exchange. In 1875, but that time it was not like Dalal Street. It was a big banyan tree. Beneath that, people were sitting and doing that kind of leisure. So we said, why not to have a common place where I can sell my stocks? Whosoever want to have more investment from the people, by offering them partnership, can do what? Flotation of the company. What will be done in flotation? Whatever is the value of my company is, the market value, that will be divided into legal documents of equal price, and that's why it's called equity. Every term has a logic. Equal price. So let's say 100 rupees the worth of my company. I divide it into 4 shares of 25 rupees. 10 shares of 10 rupees, 20 share of 5 rupees. For sake of convenience, I am saying 100 shares of 1 rupees. And whosoever will be purchasing this will be becoming that percent owner. Clear? Is that clear whatever I said so far? Because I would like to go step by step. Is that clear? Please feel free to ask if any doubt, any confusion is coming anywhere. So now I did the flotation. I made this and we got a place where we can do it, and that's how we got the stock exchange. And stock exchange is coming, the first was in the Netherlands and then various other European places, and in India we also got in 1875 what you can call as Bombay Stock Exchange or BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange. So that's how we got this idea now. Now, once we got Bombay, say stock exchange places where we can do the flotation, there was another thing which was needed. Now, this stock exchange was going to serve a very important purpose. Listen to me carefully. This is stock exchange where I can go and can do the flotation. What they said, anyone who want to raise money from the public by selling their equity by going into the flotation process should come to us and get enlisted with us. So this point is called listing of a company. Listing of a company. So now it became easier. How it became easier? That if, let's say, I had made my company called Sunil Private Limited, I'll go to the stock market and I'll say, I want more and people to participate and can take my shares. They can take partnership. And this way, I'll get money. So I will go with the listing on the stock market. So the Netherlands, when it started, they started the listing that you can go and you can list there. So if 100 rupee was the whole capital, they issued shares. It could be, it's up to the company that what kind of share they are going to issue. 1 rupee share, 10 rupee share, 25 rupee share. Generally, it is advised to the companies that they should be having lesser denomination. So let's say they issued 1 rupee share, 100 shares, and that's exactly how RBI was made in 1934. I don't know whether you are knowing it or not. There was a fellow, Osborne Smith, who became RBI governor. He gave this proposal that why not to make this kind of company. So the RBI when was made initially was to the European people only. In 1943, C.D. Deshmukh said, let's make it a government. And then finally, 1948, government purchased the shares. All right. So if you see this way, a company is coming for flotation, and the place where you can sell it easily, other buyer will come. So now I got a platform where I can float my company. Easily, people will come and will buy my things. So in Amsterdam, we still have that museum where the first stock exchange was in. Even if Dalal Street you go, that tree is still continuing, banyan tree. So we got these kind of things where people were standing and saying, look, I'm this company, would you like to have? So I said, I'm Sunil Private Limited. This is my track record. This is the business I'm going to do. Why don't you buy my shares? Legal documents were made. Now, this stock exchange, as they started growing, they said, better you get listed with us. Better you get listed with us. And once you get listed, then we can tell other people also, we will give you a particular date. On that date you come, other investors will also come, and this will get even more investors, even more people to buy your company's share. So good idea, a win-win situation. Now stock exchange started becoming as a platform. The one who is floating his company is there. The one who want to invest is there. Now one more thing before I move further into other things of this. I would like to talk about that too. Let's go on the other side of the picture. So this is one thing which was happening. There was other thing happening. Let's say my company is Sunil Private Limited. Sunil Private Limited. Let me see how much you're understanding now. So my company is Sunil Private Limited. I'm going for flotation. I have already told you that how we can register a company. We can register a company under Company Act. We can register a company under LLP. We can register a company under there's several other positions of partnership, etc., etc. I made my company Sunil Private Limited. I want to float it now. Are you getting the term now? I want to float it. That means I am offering people my partnership in my company. So I made, my company's worth was, let's say, 1,000 rupees. I made 100 shares of 10 rupees. 10 rupees. And I reached to the stock exchange. I reached to the stock exchange that, boss, I want the flotation. Kindly allow me. They allowed, and people started purchasing. Let's assume Mr. A is bought. Mr. A bought, say, I said 10 rupee each share. So he purchased, let's say, 8 shares. 8 shares of my company. That makes how much? 80 rupees. Mr. A purchased 8 shares of my company. That means technically speaking, if you see, if my company was worth 1,000 rupees and he purchased 8 shares, now he became that much partner in my company of 80 rupees. So you can say roughly 8%. 80 rupees, that means, now he is almost 8% partner of my company. 8% partner. Fine? Not a big term, not a big thing. Let's say Mr. A purchased 10 shares, that means becoming almost 10% partner. 10% partner, 10 shares he purchased, becoming 10% partner. Now he would like, boss Sunil ji, I'm almost 10% partner of a company. There should be some acknowledgement to me. That's why 10% equity we consider. In fact, in FDI, I'll tell you 10% is the minimum equity needed. So if somebody got 10% share in my company, definitely would like acknowledgement. Ki boss, next time you acknowledge me also that I got 10% share of your company. At least of this company, I am with 10% owner. Fine. Now, what if somebody got 26% share of my company? 26%. Now you must be wondering why it came to 26. There's a logic behind it. 26% share of my company he got. If somebody got 26% share, now he became a very significant partner of my company. Very significant partner. Why I'm calling significant partner? You know what? It's a global rule, and that is the case in India also, that any company's big decisions should be taken by 3/4 majority. Take your time and let me know whether it's clear or not. Any company's big decision should be taken by 3/4 majority. That means if anyone is having 26% share, I cannot take decision without him, because 3/4 majority is needed. So he is having 26% share and I need 75% approval, 3/4 majority. Can I take decision without him? No. Now he became strategic partner of my company. That's why this 26% holding of a company is called as magical number in the stock market. Every company has a careful watch that no one with the ill will reaching there unless they want it. Unless they want it. Let me give you more example to make it more clear. Opposite examples. It has happened. Like recently it has happened in case of Mittal. Mittal somehow managed 26% share in Arcelor. Arcelor is a big steel company of Europe. And Mittal has got 26% share. No decision can be taken without him. He was not allowing to take any decision. No decision, every time he is sabotaging the decision. Whenever a company want to take decision, he was saying, no, this cannot be done, this should not be done, that should not be done. And finally, Arcelor sold the company to the Mittal itself. It was called hostile merger. But that's the rule. In fact, that's how, when Tata got Starbucks, Tata purchased Starbucks by having this 26%. Every company has a proper watchdog that no one is reaching to this point without their desire, without their will, without their approval. So if somebody got 26% share in my company, now he becomes strategic partner. So let's say Mr. A got 26% share of my company. he would like that, boss, now company is not only yours, there should be some name, something associated into it. And that's why I told you now the company's name will be Sunil and A Private Limited. Now the name will be Sunil and A Private Limited because he got 26% share. So now the company's name will be like this, Sunil and A Private Limited. Obviously my name might be big, his name will be small. Look, Vodafone, V is bigger, I is small because their percentage is lesser. Simple. But he got 26% share. Now, let's say gradually A has increased even more partnership in my company and reached up to 49%. Now it's almost half. Still the company is mine because 51% share is with me. But now A is bigger a partner. So he would like the name should be like this, Sunil and A or something like that, or maybe his complete name, A Private Limited, 49%, but the company is still mine. And then if he got 51%, now company belongs to A. Company belongs to A, not to me now. In a way, I sold my company now. And let's say now he is having 74%. Now company belongs to A and I am the strategic partner. I am the strategic partner of that company. Is that clear? Are these benchmarks clear to you? Take your time. But do let me know all these benchmarks clear to you or not. So if I have 100% share of that company, means when I'm floating, I'm having 100% mine, it's mine company. Generally up to 10% we don't take it very seriously. So up to 10% is fine. People could be of different type. But the moment somebody got 26%, no decision can be taken without that fellow. And that's why this is a magical number. Once you got 26%, no decision can be taken without you, because all the major decisions of a company are taken by what is called 3/4 majority. I'm under this impression that you know that every company is bound to have one annual general body meeting. I've been knowing that how company functions. Every company is bound to have one general body meeting. That happens at least once in a year, maybe more than that. And all major decisions are taken in that. Any major decision has to be taken by 3/4 majority. And in case, if anyone is having 26% partnership, without that fellow, no decision can be taken. Then if gradually his share is increasing and he got, let's say, 49%, almost half partner, but still company is mine because I am having 51%. Now gradually my share is reduced to 26, now company belongs to A. That's how flotation, how much of the share I am floating. Isn't it? If it's clear, let me connect it with something else, which I'm sure you are knowing, but then even. That's why, look at these numbers. When we allow FDI, we allow to a certain number only. If something is very important, we don't want anyone to touch 26%. That's why we do not allow any foreign bank in the government bank to go more than 20%. Any foreign bank cannot have partnership in any government bank more than 20%. Because we know if there is 26%, no decision can be taken. That's why in FDI we have 26% bracket, 49% bracket, 74% bracket. Like recently you might have heard that in insurance sector, government has increased FDI to 74%. What does it mean? We don't have any problem that up to 74%. We want 26 should be with us, so that government can, the Indian companies can interfere in decision making. Look at the board again. Even if government doing the same thing, government is having 100 rupees ownership of a company, let's say Coal India, and they started reducing it to 26%. You call it disinvestment process. Disinvestment. They further reduce it from 26 to 49. It's still disinvestment. The moment government lose more than 50% share, then you call it privatization. So please be careful from this WhatsApp tweets and other kind of things. any company, if government is selling its share, does not mean it is getting privatized. It get privatized only when government ownership goes below 50%. Let me give an example to make it clear. You might have heard a bank called IDBI. IDBI was Government of India's bank, introduced in 2003. Government started floating the company. Initially 5%, 10%, 26%, 30%, 35%. In 2018, its share value got, the government which was holding, its share value got less than 50. And in 2018, that's how IDBI became a private bank. So when you say privatization is the process where government lose more than 50% ownership. So this is how, now when I'm going for flotation, I have to be very clear. I have to be very clear that how much of flotation I want of my company. Most of the people prefer it should be less than 26%. Some people prefer, okay, no problem, it may go up to 49%. Obviously, after 49%, the company will not be mine. So if I am coming in the stock market, I should be knowing of the total value of the company, how much I want to give to others. Whether I want to give it to less than 10%, 26%, 49%. Generally, people don't give more than 49% because if you're giving more than 49%, then the company is not yours. So that's how it may depend up to what you want to other partners to come. Is that clear? If yes, let's get back to the previous discussion. This was additional information I wanted to give so that I can make you more clearer on it. So now you know that if I want investment, I can make equities. This process is called flotation, which I am selling on a platform called stock exchange. So started selling the things there. Now, this stock exchange said you can come and can get listed with us. You can come and get listed with us. Obviously, if you're getting listed with any stock exchange will do some inquiry of you that whatever you're saying, whether it's right or wrong or so and so. As these stock exchanges were becoming bigger, gradually we required that government should have some control on them. These stock exchange should not be regulated on their own. Like if you see, did you notice one thing? As of now, we have a kind of new stock exchange for cryptocurrency. That's why we got Prime Minister's meeting. Day before yesterday, Prime Minister had a meeting. Though nothing conclusive came out, we still have a deadlock. But Prime Minister want to know to what extent it can be. One thing which has come, and that's why probably now you won't see those advertisements. Because RBI has very cautiously said that they are targeting our youngsters by having, these kind of swag advertisements that, you should be getting into the coins and all. You might have seen the IPL season. RBI has won, and RBI is very clear that these kind of advertisements should not be there. Whatever, we have to wait and watch that what kind of things will happen. But similar was the case in the stock exchange. As many stock exchange came, some of them were doing wrong things also, going in malified things. So in that case, government pinched the salt. Government was bound to be skeptic. And it was realized that why not to make certain arrangement so that they can be regulated. And every country started doing it. In India, as early as 1947, the moment you got independence, we got Controller of Capital Issues. One office came, Controller of Capital Issues. This office was later in 1988 was going to be SEBI, and by Harshad Mehta's case in 1992, SEBI as a statutory body. But started with this way. And they made provision for how you can do the listing. So if any company, say my company is Sunil Private Limited, and I want to get listed with Bombay Stock Exchange, I have to give certain facts, figures, data, balance sheet record to the this office, Controller of Capital Issues, which was later called SEBI, in 1988 onwards, with certain changes. So I have to give my data. Now, when initially people were giving data, it was realized that it is something which needs more structure format. Achha, did you notice one thing? When you go for any college, any institution, they give you a kind of introductory document, a book kind of thing. What do you call it? Prospectus. So these stock exchanges started saying, if any company want to get listed with us, should develop a prospectus with the help of professionals. There should be some professionals, some legal experts. They should be helping, and company should develop a prospectus. So let's say if I want to get listed with the company, with the Bombay Stock Exchange, they will ask me that develop your prospectus, which I can give to the customers who want to invest. I will hire a professional. That professional is called underwriter. Underwriter. So anyone who does this work is called underwriter. We have one bank also. I don't know, does it ring bell to anyone? There's a bank who also does this job. That's called Exim Bank. Exim Bank, if anyone want to make a company for export, can go to the Exim Bank, and Exim Bank will help to develop prospectus. This prospectus will be developed with the help of underwriters. In India, we call them underwriters. In UK, they got more stylish a word, investment bankers. That's why in UK almost everyone is investment banker. They're actually professionals, investment bankers. So they help the company that how you should be developing, what should be the value of IPO, when you should come, do's and don'ts and all that. This entire process is called red herring. Red herring. So red herring is that process. So what is surprising is this question came in your examination. What is red herring? It has been heard in news. So let's say when Paytm might have gone for IPO, they might have hired an underwriter. Nykaa might have hired an underwriter and might have made their red herring prospectus, giving all the detail, who we are, what we do, what has been our balance sheet, what has been our track record, account details, and all these kind of things. Obviously, they try to make it very attractive to the investors. They give this red herring prospectus to SEBI. So it started around 1940s that now government were intervening with these stock exchanges, and red herring prospectus started. It happens everywhere. In any nook and corner of the world, you will see this. So if I want to get listed with the stock exchange, I first have to hire an underwriter, have to make that red herring prospectus. In the red herring prospectus, I will also say that how much of money I'm expecting from the market. Like, let me tell you one example, contemporary example. Patanjali is coming, is under red herring prospectus. Maybe within few months we will see that Patanjali is coming for its IPO. They're all set, and they're expecting good return from the market. I think it's 10,000 crore as per the Economic Times report. So they are into the red herring prospectus. So they will hire an underwriter or investment banker, as you call it. They will develop this, will tell us who we are, how we are, etc., etc. And that's how a fine document will be prepared of liquidation. That now you can go for, now you will float your company. And this initial offer which you are giving to the people of your company will be called IPO, Initial Public Offer. So now what is the process? The process is still the same which started in the Netherlands with little refinement. If I want for flotation of my company, that means I want to give share to others, I will go to this exchange, whatever exchange I like. You know, it's up to me. And there are several exchanges, like in India we have BSE, NSE, and so on and so forth. So let's say I want to get enlisted with BSE. So what I will do, I will apply to the BSE that I want to get listed with you. They will ask me that, okay, fine, as per SEBI rule, go and make your red herring prospectus. I will hire underwriter, a professional. They will make a red herring prospectus for me in detail, that what it is, how it works, what I am, what has been my track record, and then what kind of IPO I am going to come up with. What is the value I'm expecting. Clear? And that's how we issue what is called IPO. Initial public offer, when I'm coming for the first time. So let's say I assume that from market I will get 10,000 crore. I introduce IPO of 10,000 crore. Now, is that clear so far? Please, I request your confirmation side by side. Zomato got its IPO. Zomato has been listed already. They are on the floor now. Abhishek is asking any difference between disinvestment and strategic disinvestment. Abhishek, Niti Aayog last year in 2018 made a committee for it called strategy. I'm not getting into that because sir have already might have discussed in detail. But in 2018-19, Niti Aayog had made a document. Amitabh Kant, you know, CEO of Niti Aayog, he wanted that we should go for strategic disinvestment. So whatsoever were the public sector unit of the government, central government, what is called Central Public Sector Enterprise, CPSE, they say whether it's profiting or not, like Coal India, Vale, GAIL, whatsoever. If you see, like Coal India is something which is going to be privatized, it looks like. Because, you know, Glasgow has ended and we are finally all set for it. So if you see, you know, what they did, Amitabh Kant said what? That let's identify those institutions of the government which are important for the public welfare. There are several institutions which are important for public welfare. We will not disinvest there. But all those institutions, when we want to raise money, we can disinvest that. So when 2000 disinvestment started at a big pace, in 1991 we started disinvestment, but that time it was those companies which were not profitable for the government when Manmohan Singh started. In 2000, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was there, one first company which was the hotel of the government was sold despite the fact that it was profiting. That was where even a profiting company was disinvested. That's how the term came, strategic disinvestment. And finally, fast forward in 2018-19, Niti Aayog made a committee which said that strategic disinvestment should be there in all central public sector enterprises, whether they are doing good or not. Only thing we should consider which are important from internal security point of view or social welfare point of view. And that's how we got list A, list B. A, B it was called. List A, something which will not be disinvested. In list B, we are looking into options that how much disinvestment can be done. So that's how we got it. In fact, if you want to read more about it, last year, 2019-20 economic survey, there is a chapter on it, privatization, probably 9th or 10th chapter. A complete box has been given. It's just a click away. You just go on Google, economic survey, Ministry of Finance website will open. You go on 2019-20, booklet 1, privatization chapter, I think 9th or 10th chapter. I think it's 9th because 10th was about thalionomics. In that you got a complete box of it, the Niti Aayog document as a source. So that can be referred. All right. Aditya is asking a practical question now. If privatization is done by government, never so bad, why people are so criticizing it? Why privatization has been criticized? The answer has been given by our chief economic advisor. Should I go into that? No, that's the point. But yes, chief economic advisor last year had said it very rightly. Actually, we had got a long phase of socialism. Understand this point. When we got massive impact of Lenin in our policies and all. So in that, actually privatization was looked as something, you know, private companies were something which were considered as what is called a villain, a laissez-faire, and a country which has got 100 years of colonization with a company definitely would be bitter about it. About privatization. So wonderfully it was written document. I really don't know whether it will work, otherwise I could have shown you that. The document says very rightly that any country which has got 60-70 years of socialism and that too a bad history of colonization is bound to be skeptic about privatization. So that's very natural of us. Because we are looking at the past actually, that's a problem. We are looking into the past, we are not looking into the future. We are not that India which we were in 1950s. A lot of water has gone down Thames, or I should say Ganges. A lot of water has gone down Ganges. बहुत कुछ बदल गया है India में. It's not that India of 1950s. So that time privatization was dangerous. Now it's not, because government got so many agencies, so many ways to control and tether it. Even civil societies are very active these days. So that's the reason why. So we are a skeptic because we got a bad history of colonization by these laissez-faire and these private companies. And then we got 70s of socialism where the companies and privatizations were looked down upon. So that's the reason why it is. Sarayu Vittal Dandge is asking what is right entitlement and right issues. I'm coming to that gradually. You will be coming to that also. So is that IPO clear? Now I issued IPO. Initially, I have divided the discussion into certain parts. So SEBI part will come later, right? Otherwise it will get messed up. We are understanding how the flotation process has been done, what is red herring prospectus, how IPO is issued. So now we got the IPO of the company. So red herring done. Let's take an example, practical example. Let's say we have, what is this, Policy Bazaar. They are all set for it. I'm not endorsing any brand, though I'm too small a fish to endorse a brand either. But then even, Policy Bazaar is coming with its IPO. They had gone through red herring prospectus. Now, once they submit their document, we have a provision in our listing agreements called Clause 49. Once this was asked in your examination, and that is the reason why it was asked. What is Clause 49? Let's say you submitted your document with the SEBI now. That said, this is so and so, and I want to go for IPO. Now SEBI will scrutinize it on its own sources. We have several sources of revenue intelligence also. So we will scrutinize to what level the information is right or manipulated, fabricated or what. Clause 49. And from 2005 onwards, this is mandatory for all companies. In fact, this is where Subrata Rai was caught. Because one of the company of Subrata Rai, which was working as NBFC, called Sahara, was not submitting the document appropriate. So that's how they were booked. Happening Sahara Shri, as he was called those days. Subrata Rai was booked under this because he was not showing compliance to Clause 49. So Clause 49, under Clause 49 of listing agreements, SEBI will look into that whether the company is right or wrong, and then finally approval will be given that now you can go with the IPO. So now they will come with the IPO. In IPO, they have two options. Either they say each of the IPO will be of this value, as initially it was done. In the beginning days, it was pre-decided. Each of the IPO will be of a particular value. Let's say each of the IPO will be of 10 rupees or 20 rupees, 100 rupees, whatever the value is. Each of the IPO is of 10 rupees. In that case, if it is the case that the IPO will be of 10 rupees, this is called fixed face value IPO. You can have a fixed face value IPO, though it is not a good idea. These days companies don't do that. They want to see how interested people are. Like somebody is talking about Zomato. Zomato is a very classical example of it. They want to see. So what they will do, they will make a range, minimum and maximum. That my IPO might be between 50 rupees to 150 rupees. 50 is called floor prices, full floor price, and this will be called as roof price or top price, whatever you can call. There's a term in companies called book. Book is our balance sheet. We call it book. You might have heard our books are not showing good, books are good, and so and so. So we call it book building process. Book building process. Book building process. So we issued the IPO. Most of the IPOs are now issued by book building process. We got a minimum value, we got a maximum value. And this way we come to know that how interested people are. Like Zomato has gone on to our upper side, clearly indicating that people are interested in Zomatos. Paytm, again, that's why some people on the social media are saying that IPO scam has happened and so and so. Obviously, that's their opinion. We are living a democracy with Article 19, Clause 1, and they have all the rights for it, but it was all as per the guidelines. There was no scam into it. The only thing was that people are, like, because of Warren Buffett, in stock market we call it Warren Buffett effect. As Warren Buffett got some share into that company called 197 Communication, which is the mother company for Paytm. So when Warren Buffett has taken some share, people are interested now. This company should be good. In stock market, particularly in USA, we call it, the Wolf Street, we call it Warren Buffett impact. That if Warren Buffett purchases share of any company, people take seriously that company. So that might be the reason that people were more interested in Paytm IPO. You might have seen the prices as, they have gone up. even Zomato was little surprising. In fact, as a student of economics, I was not expecting Zomato will over-respond this way, the way it responded. But whatever, we have a book building process where a minimum value will be given, a maximum value will be given, and they will gauge what should be the right value. And finally, IPO will be issued on that. So initially few days, we will look into that, what, are the trend coming up, and finally there will be closing date on that, and the value will be decided. So that is called book building process. Now we issued IPO. IPO is issued, and people purchased it. But here only, when you read about IPO, there's one more thing that you need to know. As IPOs were issued, how much IPO can be given to anyone, that is almost predetermined. We'll come to that little later, but I want to tell something else. How much IPO Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C can have, there's a limit of it. Like some of them can have more, some of them can have less. There was a lady rather, I should say. Her name was Rupal Panchal. What she did, she and her associates, I'm talking about 2003-05, she along with her associates made bogus PAN cards and so, bogus accounts, and this way she purchased IPO of various, you can say, companies. I don't know whether the companies were having hand in gloves or not. It's still not proven whether the companies deliberately did it. But let's say I am coming for book binding, and suddenly some people are interested to purchase my IPO, my value will go up. This is what Rupal Panchal did. She, along with her associates, tried to do that. We found it was a scam. When SEBI realized it's a scam, we corrected it. So on the onset of this case, Rupal Panchal, so Rupal Panchal in short. So when she did it, we realized that this is not a right idea. So now whenever you are going for any IPO or something, there is one thing, that those who want to purchase IPO should give the amount in advance, so that we can see whether in book binding it's genuine or manipulated. It should not be manipulated, it should be genuine. So we can know now, because those who want to buy, say, Zomato share should give money beforehand. And that is called ASBA rule. Account supported by blocked amount. That's why whenever you see IPO, they say this much of ASBA is required. So that we make sure that this book binding process is not being fabricated. It is not something which is artificially heating, as Rupal Panchal did with almost 25 IPOs. Now, so this way we got this IPO. And if IPO did not, if we got, let's say, IPO and we think, no, we need another set of IPO, our expected money has not come, or we are more expecting from the market, we can give with the follow-up IPO. That is called FPO, follow-up IPO. That's one thing. Sometime whatever IPO we are going to give, we say it will not be for common people. It will be for those people who already have our share. That's called rights issues. Rights issue. Let me give an example. Airtel has issued fresh IPO again, and in that case, they said it will be right issue. Means those who already have Bharti Airtel share, they only will get it. And they said well in advance. Let's say if I got Bharti Airtel share, say 100 share, they have told me that you can buy 5-10 shares, you can book it, go with your ASBA and buy and book it. So that's called rights issue. So rights issue, Airtel is a classical example which we got. That will be called rights issue. So that is something which is not given to everyone. That is a share which is given to only those shareholders which already had the share. Airtel, which we got recent example. Is that clear? Chaitanya is asking, India will have Jhunjhunwala impact. To some extent, yes, it looks like the way that particular debated photograph has come. But Jhunjhunwala is already qualified investor for many companies. All right. So When it comes to IPO, initial public offer, so the first time when I issued the share will be called IPO. So IPO is what? When we issued the share for the first time, and once it is issued, now these shares can be purchased and sold in the secondary market. So when any share is sold in the primary market, that is first time, then we call it IPO. So they are shares which are being sold for the first time. So that's how companies can come up with this IPO. However, there could be rights issues also. So when we got IPO, now IPOs came into, people purchased it, now they can sell and purchase it in secondary market, in the secondary market, and that is what you can call as, when you say on daily basis people are purchasing and selling the share, that is secondary market. In the IPO, when you go, it is for the first time a company is selling the process. So let's say I am the Sunil Private Limited, I want flotation of my company. Let me know whether, I'm repeating again, and let me know whether it's clear to you or not. I am a company called Sunil Private Limited, and I'm going for flotation. Flotation, you know. That means I am giving partnership to the others. I'm sure that I will not give more than 26% partnership. That will be the maximum, or I will not give more than 24, I will not give more than 49. That we will decide, as per my understanding. So let's say I decided that I will give 24% partnership. I don't want anyone to be important in my company. So up to 24%. Fine. I am going for flotation. What I will do? I'll go to any stock exchange, that common platform where you can sell your flotation or your shares. Now, I will go to the stock exchange called Bombay Stock Exchange. I will say them that, sir, I want to sell my shares. They will say, okay, fine. Go and come up with your red herring prospectus. I will develop my red herring prospectus with the help of underwriter. In that, I will provide all the detail. 6 months time SEBI will take, and after that they will give me approval. Okay, fine, you can come with your, you can sell your shares now. When share will be sold for the first time, this will be called as initial public offer. Initial public offer. How I will share, how will I sell it, what will be the value, I can decide whether it will be fixed or I would like to see how market respond. That is called book binding process. In that I'll give you minimum value, I'll give you maximum value. And within which 2-3 days time will be given by SEBI to see how market is responding. Initially when this was introduced, a lady Rupal Bain Panchal, what she did, she deliberately help some companies so that the price goes up. Keeping this in mind, we said no, if you are selling your share for the first time, whosoever want to purchase it should give some amount in advance, and that amount is called ASBA, or account supported with blocked amount. So those who want to buy my company share, they will give ASBA to the SEBI so that they can purchase IPO. Now, once they purchase the IPO, now they can resell, sell it, what you see generally in the secondary market. So that's how the process happens of seeking equity. Is that clear? Take your time, I'm not in a hurry, but things should be clear to you, because once it is clear, so is that clear? So how they have done? So let's say one question is coming here, Shubham is asking how this IPO scam occurred. Let's say I'm coming with my IPO Sunil Private Limited. Sunil Private Limited. Shubham, I want to have IPO and I am giving that my minimum value might be 20 rupees, maximum value will be 50 rupees. 50 rupees. And then I asked you that, boss, why don't you purchase with 1,000 accounts my share so that it looks like that there is so much of demand of share in the market. It was not natural. It was deliberately done. And when, so much of, demands were coming, those who are not knowing what they will think, oh my God, this share is very good. I should go for it. We trapped them. That is unfair. That is what is why Rupal Bain Panchal was called, she did IPO scam. So what she did, she helped some companies to increase the value of the share when IPO was coming. And as it happened, other people purchased it at a higher value, which was actually not the value. And that's how their money was trapped. Obviously, she might have got her cut for it. So this is how we got these kind of things happen in the stock market. Sometimes people manipulate upon it. So that's how we say if anyone want to purchase IPO has to give some amount in advance to be sure that it is done with a genuine interests. And that's how we got the term ASBA. If IPO allotted, you have to buy it. If not, money will be returned to you. Yes, somebody is talking about Junjiwala. Junjiwala is coming with his Akasha airline. Follow-up IPO, all right. Shantanu is asking, Shantanu, follow-up IPO is, let's say I introduce IPO. What I was expecting, I did not get it. So I may come with another IPO, follow-up IPO. Or maybe I'm over-expecting now. Like I'm sure when Patanjali will come, people might be showing much of interest. As an investor, as a tiny investor, even I would like to have Patanjali's, because I know for next few years they have future in FMCG sector. You know, FMCG sector, consumer non-durables. I hope you're understanding these terms. Please feel free if term is not clear. And this is what my job is. But I am assuming because you have done things earlier, you will be knowing it. Maybe if it's a miss, you can ask. So when it comes to this bookbinding process, when it comes to FMCG sector, Patanjali is coming with the IPO. They had already delayed. I think they were all set before the COVID itself, but they have got delayed. Policy Bazaar is coming up. I think we got already Paytm on the floor. We got Policy Bazaar, big names, many more IPOs. Even today's newspaper was talking about it. If you are reading newspaper, Ajay Tyagi has warned people. I'll tell you in the last that SEBI has proposed something called investors charter that is going to help investors. So follow-up IPO is which is coming soon after the first IPO. That's follow-up IPO. Then we got rights issues. So rights issues are given to those people who already have the share. So let's say Bharti Airtel had share. So they said whatever new IPO will come only will be allotted to our existing customers, and they only can buy it. So they said that, if you want, you can apply for it. They have already, given to their existing customers, said this much of share you can buy if you feel like. If you don't, others will buy. So that's how we got this idea when we talk about rights issues. There's another term called sweet equities or sweat share, sweat share as you call it, SWEAT, sweat shares, or ESOP. Employees stock option plans. But what are they? What else are there? What is this penny share? What is this bonus share, etc.? We'll understand it a bit, but let's write these things first. Otherwise, we'll get piled up at one place. Okay, now you are asking what happened to the Satyam scam. When we say bookbinding process, Aditya, yes, it's a kind of demo thing. We want to see that at what price people would like to purchase. But it is primarily for big investors. Their mindset we want to see. And then we will go for others, how they are looking into the big investors, more than 2 lakh and so and so. And that's how we got this idea. If anyone is making wrong prospectus, SEBI will cross-examine it and will decline their offer. That's why SEBI takes 6 months under clause 49 to cross-examine whatever they are writing in prospectus is right or not. Any false information in the prospectus might blacklist the company for further listing. It has happened with certain companies that if they are giving any false information, SEBI may blacklist that company not to get listed anywhere in the Indian stock market and so and so. So there will be no, that's job of SEBI. That's why SEBI takes 6 months, and that's what clause 49 says. Subham is asking, we don't clear with much of the terms, as I said, between about economy. So I think, now what is the point with ASBA? Okay, fine. I came to you and I said, I am going to have this IPO. And you said, oh, I'll purchase in 100 rupees. I'll purchase in 100 rupees. Somebody says, I'll purchase in 20 rupees, 25 rupees. I deliberately implanted people. They say, I'll purchase in 100, I'll purchase in 100. Others say, bhai, 100 mein kharid rahe hain? That means there must be something good. So even they will raise the value. I'll purchase in 50, who was otherwise saying 25. And these who were implanted by me, then they withdrew and this fellow got trapped. Something worth 25 was purchased in 50 rupees. Now, we say whosoever want to enter have to first give the amount so that we can see whether the fellow is genuine or not. Give the amount first and accordingly it will be done, and as the amount is blocked, accordingly you have to go with the IPO as per the value is and as per the norms are. So obviously those fake who can increase the value unnecessarily will not be coming there. That's how ASBA helps in reducing these chances. I hope it's clear. In fact, I don't know who said that, Shubham. Whatever term is not clear, if you want, like I said, one term called FMCG. I have been, if not knowing, let me give an example. When we say goods, goods could be largely of two types: capital goods and consumer goods. Maybe you have not heard the term here and there. Capital goods are those goods which are used to increase your income. Like if I say JCB, I purchase JCB. Obviously, with JCB, I will not go for roaming around the city. No, I will not go for that. JCB is which will increase my sources of income. When I purchase tractor, tractor is something which will increase my source of income, called capital goods. In fact, that's why it's really funny in my country. When finance minister said that tractors purchase has increased, that's a good sign. People made mockery of it. That how tractor purchase can be good sign of economy. Perhaps they're not understanding that tractor is purchased for sake of transportation. And if it is there, that clearly indicates that some kind of prosperity we are witnessing in that sector. Whatever. So these are called capital goods. JCB, machinery, like if you see economic survey report, every year we get the data that how much of the capital goods has been produced, how much of intermediary goods have been produced. Last year data was showing minus 90% capital goods because there was no activity, so nobody was purchasing capital good. That's called capital good. Other is called consumer goods or consumer durables. Consumer durables which we are consuming, like this I'm consuming, isn't it? These things I'm consuming. This is not something earning for me. They are called consumer durables. Consumer durables. Consumer durables could be of two types. Consumer durables, when we say, or consumer goods rather, consumer goods could be of two types. One is called consumer durable. Consumer durable are those things which I use, but I use for relatively longer time, say 3 years and above. Say car, say washing machine, say AC, say mobile. These are those consumer goods which I'm consuming, but for a longer period of time. That is called consumer durables. We also use a term for it called white goods. These days a term is called white goods because most of them are in white. So your TV, your electronic appliances, mobile, car, these things are what? Consumer durables. Now compare this with cosmetic products like cream, food products like vegetables, eggs, etc. They are called consumer non-durables. As consumer non-durables, they are those products which are continuously in demand because we are almost every day purchasing vegetable, almost every day purchasing egg, almost once in fortnight, in 15 days we purchase fairness cream. These kind of products which are for shorter period of life are called consumer non-durables, and as their demand is fast, they are called fast moving consumer goods or FMCG. FMCG. If you see any data of the government of India, you'll get all these reports that how much of the capital goods has been purchased, what has been the trend record of the capital good, consumer durables, consumer non-durables. And that is, consumer non-durable sector is also called as FMCG sector. It's a very big sector. Like if you say Dabur is there in India, we have Hindustan Unilever, we have Patanjali. These are some of the very important companies of then we have even this, many more, like Vaidyanath is another one. They all are called FMCG sector companies. So I hope the term is clear to you. when I'm saying FMCG and what? So here when I'm saying I will decide the rupee, that at what cost I want to give this book binding process. Fine. Let's write it and then let me know if anything is still not clear. And then we'll move further, that once it is done, once the IPO is issued, who can purchase it? What happens to the investors? What about the investors, right? So, all right. In Satyam case, I don't want to get into case specific, but it seems you are getting very interested into Satyam's issue. Satyam created bogus PAN cards, and what he did, he had created bogus detail of employees to start with. So that Raju, I'm missing his first name, the second name was Raju, some Raju. What he did, he created bogus PAN cards, because those days we do not have centralized PAN cards the way we have now, permanent account number. And these bogus PAN cards were having bogus account numbers, through which he was, getting into these IPO things of his own company and showing that they are increasing. That's how the scam has happened. It was brought into the notice because in 2000, you might have heard of this here and there. There was a committee called Kelkar Committee on Tax Reforms. Two committees have been made largely, Raja Chalya Committee and Kelkar Committee. Kelkar Committee said in 2000 that we should make permanent account number one individual, one PAN. You cannot have more than one PAN. And we should get it registered. And that's how we have outsourced it that time for getting it digital. PAN became digital, and the moment PAN became digital, we got these information overlapping. The same fellow was having multiple PAN at different places. So I hope, Akshay, you got answered that how ASBA is solving IPO problem, because Ramalinga Raju, all right, yes, Ramalinga Raju. So when it comes to Ramalinga Raju, so if you see that, that fellow of Satyam, what he did, he manipulated upon it. He deliberately made many people's PAN card, opened the account. Most of them were belonging to his village and nearby area. As the account was not digital, so we cannot catch it. The moment we got digital information, name, father's name, date of birth started overlapping, and we came to know, okay, fine, this fellow has manipulated all that. All right, so consumer durables, when we say it is something for 3 years at least 3 years, that is called consumer durable. Like your mobile, you use mobile or general on 3 years, that's consumer durable. Non-durable is something which you use for lesser time, 6 months, 1 month, 10 days, 5 days, 1 day, like our food, cosmetic products, shampoo, all that, what you use it for less than a year, less than 6 months. These types of things are called consumer non-durables. All right, fine. You can write quickly now, so you can give the heading seeking investment. Seeking investment. Seeking investment. You can give the term seeking investment, or the equity market. The equity market. The equity market. In order to get investment, by offering partnership, was felt unavoidable, with the big expansion of businesses, particularly in European companies, because they started all that. particularly in European companies. To provide legal ownership to others, to provide legal ownership to others, legal ownership to others, whatsoever was the market capital or stock of that company, whatsoever was market capital, whatsoever was market capital or stock of that company was divided in equal value based denomination, equal value based denomination documents known as equity or share, equity or share. For example, if a company's market capital was 100 rupees, it can issue it can issue 100 share of 1 rupee denomination, 100 share of 1 rupee denomination, 100 share of 1 rupee denomination, or 20 share of 5 rupee denomination, and so on. It depends upon them, and so on. This process was called flotation. This process is called flotation. So I hope flotation is clear to you. This process is called flotation. This process is called flotation. Soon it was realized, from the next paragraph, soon it was realized that it would be better if there is a market or place where the company seeking investment and the potential investors are coming together. and potential investors are coming together. That place was called stock exchange. Understand the logic why? It's because stock is what you're exchanging. That place was called stock exchange. Stock exchange. The first stock exchange was at the Netherlands. The first stock exchange was at the Netherlands. At the Netherlands. It was in Amsterdam, right? The Netherlands. India, as I told you, it is 1875 Bombay Stock Exchange. We'll discuss it, so I'm not going into that. We'll write there only. However, it was also found that in stock exchanges, wrong companies also might get investors. Also might get investors. To avoid that potential misuse, it was said that if any company want to go for flotation, needs to get listed with concerned stock exchange. Needs to get listed with concerned stock exchange. In this listing process, they will provide all necessary informations. Along with their vital statistics. That is balance sheet. Vital statistics. The concerned regulator will examine the facts, and accordingly they will be allowed for flotation. Now you can give a subheading kind of thing. Red herring prospectus. It's written here. red herring, R-E-D, herring, H-E-R-R-I-N-G, red herring prospectus. In order to make this information cum scrutiny procedure, in order to make this information cum scrutiny procedure more structured, it was highlighted that those companies which wants to go for flotation, should hire the professional called underwriter in bracket, in UK investment banker, and sometime merchant banker. In USA we call them merchant banker and sometime merchant banker. To develop their prospectus. Just in one line for your further references, so that while reading you can understand it when you are revising it. It can be compared with a lawyer who prepares legal documents. So like when you file a case, you need a lawyer. No? Similarly, when you go for IPO, you need underwriter. It can be compared with a lawyer. Lawyer who prepares legal documents. You can write that. Once this red herring prospectus is prepared, you can use a short form for it, RHP. Red herring prospectus is prepared, the regulating agency will cross-examine its credentials, and if convinced thoroughly, will allow the company to go for flotation. In bracket you can write that, or you can give a kind of heading that would be better. Clause 49 of listing agreement in India. A kind of subheading which is concerned to red herring prospectus. Clause 49 of listing agreements in India. It was introduced in 2005. It was introduced in 2005. Amended 2006. A few changes were brought. Amended 2006. Which makes it mandatory that if any company going for flotation must provide the prospectus 6 months earlier. 6 months earlier, so that the regulator, that is SEBI, as of now, I can explain the SEBI later. The regulator, that is SEBI, can examine it. So they take 6 months time, 180 days are there. In fact, that's the time when murmuring starts, okay, this IPO is about to come. Like I told you that Patanjali is about to come in, it's in red herring prospectus. Let's see if all things goes good. Policy Bazaar is all set, almost very advanced stage. Any day then you will see the date coming up. So that's how we got to this process, that how the flotation can be done. Now I can give the heading IPO or initial public offer. So when any company is selling its share for the first time, that is the primary market, is called as initial public offer, IPO. Initial public offer or IPO. Giridhar is asking that underwriter in UK they are called investment bankers. Am I going fast? Yes, sir. All right. Initial public offer. So whenever a company selling its share for the first time, that is in primary market, can be called as initial public offer. This IPO can be issued in following two ways. First, the face value of IPO is fixed. The face value of IPO is fixed. And second, there is a book building process. In this procedure, a floor price, that is minimum price, and a cap price is offered, and on the basis of potential investors' response, the final price is decided. Final price is decided. Final price is decided. Now, here only you can write Rupal Panchal scam and the Asba rule. Rupal Panchal scam and the Asba rule. In 2003, Rupal Panchal and her associates, Rupal Panchal and her associates found a potential loophole in book binding process. Found a potential loophole in book binding process. In fact, this hide and seek will be going on, always. Loophole in this book binding process. So, with various bogus accounts, she manipulated the potential price. She manipulated the potential price. Potential price. Providing undue advantages to some companies. Providing undue advantages to some companies. Floor price and cap price. Providing undue advantages to some companies. Obviously, she also got benefited massively. To avoid any such future scam, the Asba rule in bracket, account supported by blocked amount. Asba rule, account supported by blocked amount. Account supported by blocked amount has been introduced. Under which anyone seeking IPO has to deposit some amount beforehand. Seeking IPO has to deposit some amount beforehand. Some amount beforehand. That's how we got ASBA rule. Now, a kind of heading you can give, small heading, as we're talking about this, you can write that the ownership milestones in flotation process. The ownership milestones in the flotation process. We'll write in points to make it clearer in your mind always. First is 10% equity. 10% equity. 10% equity. Equity. It is the first milestone, the level 1, what you can say, the first milestone, proving the other partner to be very significant. And often taken by any investor only when only when they are serious about the company. Serious about the company. Serious about the company. Let's say I'm a retail investor, so definitely I would not like that I should be buying 10%. Again, the same rule: why to put all your eggs in the same basket? That kind of thing. So I would not like, if you see the Hathaway's profile, that means Warren Buffett's profile. Again, his share is something. In few companies only he might be touching 8 or 10. Otherwise, he prefer to keep. It is advisable not to put all the eggs in the one basket, right? If you are not serious about that company, if your only motive is to get returns from the investment. Second is 26%. 26%. 26%. This is the stage of strategic ownership. Stage of strategic ownership. Strategic ownership. Because it's almost a global rule, barring only few countries. It's almost a global rule, including India. Almost a global rule, including India, that any company's big decisions, what you call policy decisions, any company's big decisions / policy decisions must be taken by 3/4 majority. Must be taken by 3/4 majority. So if anyone got 26% share, if anyone got 26% share, that means no decision can be taken without that fellow. No decision can be taken without that fellow. No decision can be taken without that fellow. Then third stage is 49%. 49%. It means almost half of the ownership, but not the major stake. Not the major stake. Not the major stake. The next is 51%. It means becoming the main owner. Becoming the main owner or promoter, as you call it. I told you the word is almost used interchangeably. And 74%. Next is 74%. 74%. That means the owner with having some other strategic partner, the one who will live in 26. A strategic partner. And the last stage is more than 76%. More than 76%. That means being the key owner. Being the key owner with non-strategic partners. Because you can take the decisions. Non-strategic partners. Non-strategic partners. Non-strategic partners. Now here a question is coming, Vaibhav is asking, Subham has asked, sir, is there a relationship between privatization and GDP? Look, I think that's a completely different domain. I would not like to get into that. But in a very simplest way, GDP is the total production you are having in one given year. That is final goods and services in one given year. That is one financial year within the territory of the country, as you call it, economic territory. As per UN SNA guideline, we also follow UN, that is United Nations System of National Accounting Guideline, which the whole world follows. In fact, if you read MOSPI document, you will get UN SNA guidelines. So that says total production within a year's time. It doesn't matter whether it is done by the private or the public. So apparently there is no such correlation if you have something specific. But something which I am sure you have been discussed earlier also, so there's no point of getting into that thing. Vaibhav is asking, sir, what role does shell companies play? Shell company, when we say, is any kind of company which is something which has been created just to get some undue advantages using loopholes of the system. Let's say if you say I made a shell company in Mauritius. So what I'll do, because you might have heard that corporate taxes now, so we got a basic line, so not a big deal. But as corporate taxes are different in Mauritius and India, I'll make a shell company in Mauritius and I'll operate from there. So if I have to pay say 22% corporate tax here and I have to pay 2-3% corporate tax there, I will save a lot of money. These kind of companies are called shell company. Mauritius, Singapore, Cayman Island, Panama Island, and to some extent even the Netherlands. These are the places where these things are often reported, and that's why recently we got a very important development on the recommendations of USA, and 130 countries has developed in principle that we will have a 15% minimum benchmark for corporate taxes. Maybe whenever those things will be discussed or might have discussed, you will talk about it, or maybe in current affairs you might have read about it. So shell companies are those bogus companies which are being made particularly to misuse these loopholes in the system. That's how we make shell companies. All right, so this is how we got how the investment can be done. So IPO is clear to you. Now before I move further, again I request you to confirm me whether it's clear to you or not, or still there is any confusion. Take your time, not an issue, but should be clear to you. So that's how we got, now the company is all set for IPO, right? They came up with the IPO, and those who want, they can purchase it. Now once you got the IPO, you can write further now, rights issues, rights issues, rights issues. It referred to that provision where rights issues. It referred to that provision where IPO is given only to those investors. IPO is given only to those investors which already have the share of that company, If you want, you can write in bracket. Recently, Airtel issued rights issues. This is a big news. Actually, most of you are saying it's clear. Recently, Airtel issues rights issues. Rights issues. Next is follow-up IPO. Follow-up IPO. Which is soon after issued, which is issued soon after the IPO to get more investments. हाँ, ये क्वेश्चन which should come in your mind. आप कह रहे हो सर कि राइट्स इश्यूज तो उन्हीं को देंगे जिनके पहले से शेयर हुए. So generally what happens, a company is there, let's say Bharti Airtel is there. They got a subsidiary holding company or something like that, and for that they issued share. So for that company it will be for first time, but they will give only to those who already have the share of the main company. That's how it is, rights issues. I hope it's clear. It was very natural. I was expecting this question. Had this question not come in your mind, that means you were not listening me properly. But this question is saying that, okay, I'm dealing with a good lot, and they're listening me even after 2 hours very seriously. So yes, whenever IPO is issued, let's say Airtel is a very classical example, that Airtel said that new share will be given only to those who already had that mother company or the holding company share. That's how rights issues. कि आपके पास अधिकार है, पहले हम आपके पास आएंगे, फिर बाकियों से पूछेंगे. That way. Fine. Now, so IPO, FPO, is that clear? In fact, As you guys are listening, I'm thinking inside, should I or should I not? Generally, when we have a holding company, I told you what is a holding company, the main company, and then it got various other companies. Each and every company has its own balance sheet and could be listed separately, except Jio or Reliance. In fact, surprisingly, Jio is not separately listed still. This is surprising. I don't want to get into a personal case study. That doesn't make sense here. But, if you really want to, that's why we actually do not know whether Jio is in profit or in loss, because whatever we know is about Reliance, whether it's profit or loss, not about the Jio per se. Bharti Airtel, they came up with different patches, like now Bharti Airtel this time came up with this Airtel Black options, which way they are going to Wi-Fi or 5G. So when they get a new subsidiary, a new company, and issued IPO for it, they said those who are from the holding company, they will be given rights issues. That's how the rights issues came. In fact, this is very surprising, and I really don't know why Reliance is doing it. This is very surprising that a company like Reliance still is not talking about each of its unit, as if the whole Reliance is like that. Because Reliance Jio must be doing differently. Reliance, they should be listed separately. Like Tata Power is listed separately, Tata Motors listed separately, Tata Steel is listed separately, and each of we know that how they are performing. Right. So I know that, and if Tata, let's say, issues tomorrow Tata electric vehicle, something on that, semiconductors or something, a company has been registered, they might come with right issues, and in that case, if I have Tata Motors right or Tata Power's right, I will be given the rights issue. That's how they do it. So that's clear to you. So this is how, when we talk about this idea of how the company get equity instruments. If this part is clear, we can move further. But before moving further, let's take a small break, as some of you are demanding. A 5-minute break. On the other side of the break, we'll talk about that. What about the investors then? Somebody was asking about what is bull, what is tank and all that. So first we have understood what is debt instrument. Then we have understood how a company can seek. Now let's see how the investors can get into the company, and what is exactly role of brokers into it, and what are these depository recipients called CDSL and so and so. And then we'll see how the regulator work called SEBI along with the tidbits, so that we can end up this chapter, right? So I have this kind of partition is something which is making things clear to you. Because if you understand step by step and then you see the holistic picture, that would be better. So a small break. On the other side of the break, we'll continue. Thank you. All right, so welcome back again. Anything to ask? Before I move further, please confirm me that things are clear to you. And please do cross-check it while giving a full form of ASBA, what I had said. Did I say application supported by blocked amount or account supported by block amount? That is not clear to. The right is application supported by block amount. So that application which you have applied for IPO is supported by the block amount. Please do correct it if I said by chance account, because it looks like that probably I said account supported by blocked amount. It is application supported by blocked amount. And before I move, I need your confirmation that things are clear. Then only I'll go further. All right, I said account, sorry. In that case, you correct it. Application supported by blocked amount. Fine. It's clear? Ayushi, all right. Now, so now you know that how the company, so company came up with IPO. They come up with IPO and they got follow-up IPO, they got what is called rights issues. Now there are some other kind of IPO shares also. Let's understand quickly about them. One is what we call sweat IPO. Sweat IPO. It ESOP. though there's a slight difference in both of them. If you are a practicing CA, you understand the difference within two. Here we will not go in those differences. I'll just refer you quickly. It stands for Employees Stock Option. That is how we got ESOP, and we got sweat IPO as you call it. What is sweat IPO? Sweat IPO is that IPO which is, or you can say sweat share to be more clearer. Sweat share now what is sweat share or ESOP? So when we say now sweat share, it is something which is given by a company to its own employees or let's say directors or members, etc. That is called sweat share, or let me give an example to you. Say for example, I'm working with Vision, and Vision has issued some IPO or share and so, and they, the Vision wants that, okay, fine, Sunil should be staying with us or maybe giving incentive or something like that. So they can issue sweat share to the to their employees. That kind of share is preferably given for sake of holding the potential employees or giving them incentives or these kind of things. That is what we call sweat share, or employees stock option preferences. That's also there. So ESOP or sweat share is something which might be given to the employees by the company. You can say as a reward sometime, or you can say sometime in form of what you can say, giving them incentives so that they're staying there, not going anywhere else, etc., etc. Because this way, if you are having, let's say Vision gives me share, and I think now I'm a shareholder of this company, definitely I would like to work harder for this company because it looks like I am having some ownership into it. So these kind of things are being done by companies. So rather than giving them direct incentive or cash, sweat equity is given. So sweat equity is given to them. This way, the employees are promoted, or in a way getting what is called motivated. It might be given to employees or the directors. Now here, just as additional information, I'm sure you have, you are well aware of it. But then even, say any company is there, let's say Sunil Private Limited, that company, any company, Sunil Private Limited, if it's there, will be having some important members who take policy decisions. They are called board of directors. Board of directors. Board of directors. Board of director might be headed by one person, and that is called chairperson. Chairperson, right? So that's how we got board of directors, and they together sit, they decide policies that how the company should run, what kind of business, whether they should expand or not. That's why you often hear that today we have board of meeting of this company and directors meeting of this company, and so and so. Now some of the directors could be executive director. This is just additional information so that other things will become easier for you. And some of them could be non-executive directors. Let's understand the difference between it. Non-executive directors are those who are not participating on daily basis. They are executive, understand? Those who do the work. That's how the term executive. So non-executive are those which are otherwise not participating on daily basis, comes once in a while. Like if I say Reliance, Mukesh Ambani's company, the mother, Anandi Bain, I think, she, the mother of Mukesh Ambani, she is having, she is also board of director member of the company, but she's non-executive. Or let's say the wife. Tina Ambani, as we call it, even again she is a non-executive director, means they are not participating on daily basis. So there could be non-executive directors, there could be executive directors, and the head is called chairperson. Now, for daily management of the company, for taking daily decisions and executive decisions, there is another head, and that is called managing director. Managing director, managing director. Sometime the fellow is one, then we call it CMD, chairperson and managing director. So you might have heard CMD, chairperson separately, managing director separately. It depends what kind of structure is. Any of the director or any of the senior employee, might get what is called sweat share. This is something where they get some property right, they got some ownership right in the company. That's how we got what is called sweat share. Sweat share is that share which is given to its own employees. Clear? Or ESOP. However, if you are interested to know, though not required from UPSC point of view, who can give it, there is category, hierarchy of it, and accordingly we use the different terms. But in both the concepts, ESOP or sweat share, what we do, we give this to our employees. A company gives it to to the employees, directors, so that they feel more ownership, they work hard, etc., etc. Now, so it's employee stock option preferences, and then we got sweat share. That's how we got this term. ESOP and sweat share, both are given to the employees. Then we hear a term called penny share. Penny share. Penny share is often used for, when we say penny share is used for those share who are having very less value, let's say 5 rupees, 1 rupee, 2 rupee, still, the face value of the share is very less. They are called penny shares. Generally, it has been seen that penny shares are those who are otherwise, you can say might be a bogus company, or might be that they have different way of generating amount, that means the multiple of shares. So like one example which is coming in my mind instantly because it was quite in news and suddenly has jumped its face value. You might have heard a company called Trident. They are into the cotton business. You might have seen advertisement because since they got new CMD, is doing wonderful. Penny share are those shares which are having very small face value, 1 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee. There is no bench line that whether more than 10 will be not called penny share or less than 10 will be called penny share. But generally when what is the average values around, in comparison to that, if they are very less, then we call them penny share. Investing in penny share is often called a risky business if you are not investing for long term. If you're investing for long term, then probably it might be useful, but not in short term. That's how they say. So penny share. Then we have another term called bonus share. These small terms here and there, they appear, you should be aware of. What is bonus share? Bonus share means that share, let's say I got a share of company called Power Grid. I'm deliberately giving the example of Power Grid because they had given bonus shares recently. So let's say I got share of bonus of this company called Power Grid. I've been knowing it's an energy sector company belonging to the government. Now Power Grid, they were supposed to give whatever the profit is to the customers. Every company in the end of the year, whatever profit they get, accordingly as per percentage wise. So if the company booked profit of 100 rupees and I have 10% share, 10 rupee will come to me. This is called dividend. So company will give dividend to its shareholders. Sometime company does what? Rather than giving them money, give them additional share. That's called bonus share. Like this time Power Grid did it. So if I got 400 shares of Power Grid, they said, as the year completed, they said, sir, we will not give you any money. On the contrary, we are giving you 100 more share. This is called bonus share. So they did what? They give us bonus share. And this way now I have, say, let's say 500 share of the company. So that 100 share value is in a way dividend. So companies do that also. So that's also one of the ways. Recent example, we got Power Grid, which in this financial year when they book profit, they give 4:1 share to the clients rather than giving them profit in their account. So this kind of thing is called bonus share. Then you might have heard term here and there called share buyback. This is also a possibility. What is share buyback? Share buyback is where any company, if is of the opinion that they got too much of flotation in the system. There are too many people have got shared. This is not a good idea. They themselves might get their shares back. Tata did it recently for some of the companies, some of its subsidiaries, because they might have realized that now the share is more into the people's hand, and that's not a good thing. So they called buyback option. For that, they issue tender, or they can go with the general market, either way. Generally, tender is preferred. So they issue tender and they say this is the value, whosoever want to sell it can sell it. So that's how we got what is called share buyback, when the company is buying back the share. It was in news for one reason. That's why I wanted you to know, because UPSC may go for these things which are been in news. Tata has done it recently, share buyback. Some people are putting some allegation on Tata. What they are saying is that Tata has deliberately done it so that they have not to give dividend to the because they are going to book profit. So before time they had purchased it so that the dividend should not be given to the customer. That's why when share buyback is done, we often look the company with some skepticism that there is something wrong which they are trying to do, and that's why companies generally don't prefer it. Tata had said we have done it because we are of the opinion that enough of flotation has happened. We don't want to lose that much share in the market. Whatever reason is, they might be knowing better, but you should know this term called share buyback, where the company who has issued it is taking it back. If the government is doing it, you call it process of nationalization. Like you might have heard, government purchase shares of RBI, government purchase shares of bank. That's how we use the term called nationalization. So share buyback is also an option, that you are taking back the share, the mother company is taking back the share. Often it is done to avoid excessive flotation. Sometimes it might be a trick, rather than giving dividend, why not to get back the share. So in one go you get two profit, not to give dividend and to get your ownership more. Whatever, they might be knowing it better why they have done it, but officially they are saying it is because they are of the opinion that excessive flotation has happened to some of the Tata Group companies. I have been knowing that in Tata Group, if not, just for record, that roughly we have 36 companies, largely, not talking about much subsidiaries, 36 companies which are under this banner. So in some companies they have got what's called share buyback. So sweet equity, ESOP, penny share, bonus share, sometimes we get share split also, that if the share value has increased, that is divided into small shares with the approval of SEBI. So let's say value has increased, so they can divide into small shares, that is called share split. So these kind of terms, telling you all these terms here and there has two objectives. First, you should be knowing them, which are the major one, and eventually I may develop some interest in you, so that next time when you're reading any such news, you may attend, okay fine, some in share, this is also an option. Because there are several options. Whatever is there in the news, that you should be aware of. These are some of in the news in the recent past. If I say recent 6 months, these are some of the things. Trident, that penny share has been in the discussion. Bonus share, Power Grid, a big company has issued that. So that kind of thing, on and off comes into the newspaper when these kind of big development happens. So this is how we got when we talk about what could be various types of shares. So IPO, FPO, right issues, sweat equity, ESOP, penny share, bonus share. These are, what you can call as some kind of ways through which share can be given. Is that clear? How company worth is calculated? This is a question. How company's worth is calculated? Now, really, I don't want to know whether should I step in this water or not. I can't stop my temptation to tell you in very brief. When we calculate the worth of any company, we have certain set parameters to do it, and that is called time value of money. Time value of money. So what is the worth of any company, that is estimated on some given criteria as decided by the provisions of the government, and the key rule is called time value of money. In very simple way, when we look at worth of any company, we look how much of capital they have, in terms of their entire business, entire business, and then what is going to be its likely value over the period of time. So there are scientific ways through which it is calculated. We have now that we have softwares also through which it is done. Various CAs, high profile CAs are using those softwares, but it is based upon one thing called time value of money. Time value of money, where we look into that whatever money is given. Thankfully, one of the provision recently we got called IBC, Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, introduced in 2016, has also given some clarity on it, that free floating market capitalization, how it should be estimated. So we have standard measures. I don't think we need to go into the methodology of calculating, but we look into that what is exactly their worth by understanding how much they have and how much it is likely to be. That's how it is. That's called time value of money. That's why that's UPSC. That's the beauty of UPSC. Last year, in one of the cases, it was highlighted. Last year, I'm talking about 2020. In IBC, one case came about financial debt. And UPSC asks, which among them is non-financial debt? So financial debt is where time value of money is calculated. So whenever anyone is taking money to invest in a company and to do business with that is called financial debt as per IBC. Non-financial debt refers to any kind of debt which is taken for consumption. So I took home loan for consumption, credit card for consumption. I took, let's say, government took treasury bill for consumption. So that kind of thing is called, and that was the question, what do you understand by non-financial debt? So that's how they design question, and it was quite relevant because financial debt was in the discussion. So time value of money simply says that whatever is this amount they are having, what will be its worth over the period of time depending upon the business. So let me give an example as you're asking this, and maybe others will be interested into that. So when I say Lysias became of this much worth, or if I say car 24 became say 100 billion worth, it does not mean that they actually got that money. It simply means that whatever assets they had is going to be worth of this. So that's how we got the term free floating market capital, or FFMC in official term. For us, we can say market worth, market capital. So the right term is free floating market capital, or FFMC. So I hope it's clear to you, Prashant. Sir, what was the ESOP portion? Please come again. Shantanu, ESOP is again a sweat equity, but there's a slight difference. Sweat equity is given to the, you can say, high profile directors, etc. ESOP is on a larger bench. But for us, it is, that is called employees stock option. So employees stock option, if you say that how much of, you want to give to your employees. We have rules for it in 2013 Company Act. So the slight difference is that sweat equity is something which is based upon intellectual property, and ESOP might be given directly for dividend. So if Vision is happy to see that Sunil Singh is working hard, they gave me ESOP. But if they think, no, Sunil has something which might be useful for the company, and if he goes, we might be in loss, or maybe the competitor may get advantage, he will give me sweat equity. But for us, both of them refer to that share which is given by a company to its own employees. That's it. Because that is more a definition of say practical, when you say in accounting, that whether it is ESOP or whether it's sweat equity. So sweat equity is given on the skill, intellectual property, and ESOP is general dividend given to the clients as per 2013 rule. So that's how we got when we say sweat equity or employees stock option. That's how. So that's how sweat equity. Is that clear? So the term can be used synonymously here. So sweat shares are given, or sweat equity as you can call it, sweat equity, even in IPO you can allot them. All that belongs to when a company is giving share to its own employees. If it is based upon something related to the intellectual property, we call it sweat share or sweat equity. If it is just simple dividend given incentive or bonus given by the company to its employee, it is called ESOP. Yes. So, here a question is said, to what extent this argument is right that Tata is more rich than Ambani? Not needed. But yes, you're right that Tata is way more rich than Ambani. Ambani is having almost more than 40% share, while Tata, if you see technically, is having way lesser than that, because they work in form of a trust. Alright, so I hope it's clear to you what is switch share, what is ESOP. It is called employees stock options. The full form is employees stock ownership, and switch share. So whatever option you're giving to your own employees as a dividend. So Vision is happy on me and don't want Sunil to go away, ESOP will be given. So ESOP will be given to the employees by the company. Means some kind of ownership, some kind of share is given to me. If Vision is thinking that his intellectual thing is something which is of worth and share given, that will be called sweet equity. That is the differentiation given in Company Act 2013. Otherwise, the term is used synonymously. If any book, like if you're reading any routine book, they use the term almost synonymously. That's perfectly all right for general understanding. But those who are knowing it carefully, they understand the slight difference as per Company Act 2013. This is given by a company to its employees if they have something specific in terms of intellectual property. This is given simple ownership portion to the employees to ensure that the employees are working hard, and a kind of dividend. So if I got some ownership in the Vision, say 0.5%, 1%, definitely I will take it as my company and will work harder. That is ESOP. If they think that no, this fellow knows something, has something which is advantageous to us and should not go away, and giving me share, that will be called sweat, equity or sweat share. That's how the term is used. But again, I'll say most of the books use the term almost synonymously, and that's perfectly all right. So penny share, bonus share, and share buybacks. Is that clear? All right, fine. Now, once this is done, let's talk about how as an investor what we can do. So this was about companies seeking debt instrument or equity instrument. Now as an investor, how I can invest? So anyone how can invest, from Jhanjhanwala to you or to me, how we can invest? The one who is buying share, that means giving money. To invest, you need a demat account. Demat account. This stands for dematerialize account. Dematerialize account. Dematerialize account or demat account. What is this demat account? Understand this point. As I told you earlier also that if say this is the share and physical share are issued to a party, so I purchased today 10 shares, bought 10 shares, sold 20 shares and so, how many physical things we will do? So to make sure that we are not going into that, we made one repository, and that repository is called DP or depository participant. Depository participant. So they are having all these shares. Depository participants. We have two major depository participants. One is called National Securities Depository Limited. National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL, and other is Central Depository Services Limited, CDSL. So Central Depository Services Limited and National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL. This works for NSE. We'll understand NSE more, and this works for BSE. So what happens whenever a share is issued, given IPO, etc. So you purchased IPO, it will not come physically to you. The paper, that document will be kept with DP. Imagine a locker, it is kept there. Now, everyone who want to buy these shares, be it primary market, that is IPO, etc., or be it secondary market, that means once it has been sold, you need a demat account, dematerialized account. This is where nothing physical will be given. Demat in principle means any account where no physical thing will be given to you, or just your data will be prepared, and whatever settlement amount is, that will be given to you. Whatever settlement amount is. So you purchased some share, you sold some share. You purchased some share, you sold some share. In the end, whatever your total value is, accordingly will be debited or credited in your account, whatever is associated account with the demat. So with the demat, you need to have one bank account associated. So if anyone want to open demat, a bank account will be attached to it. From that bank account, the money can be credited or debited. Let's take a practical example. So say you want to open a demat. What you need to do, you will apply for it. You will apply for it that you want to open a demat account to the concerned agency. Let's say SEBI will approve you. Now, once you apply for it to the SEBI that you want a demat account, SEBI will ask any of the depository, depending upon where you want to work. Generally, we prefer both. So they will ask you to open an account on your behalf, and your account will be attached to this. Your bank account, this demat account will be here, and accordingly in the evening when the market is closed, when the share is been purchased and sold, accordingly in the last, whatever your value is will be credited or debited in your account, or the share number will be credited or debited in your account. So that has been done by them. That's why I told you yesterday that they are in the previous class, they are called clearing house. So what they do, in the evening when that market is closed, they will see that from this demat account, how much of share has been purchased and sold. Say you purchase share, they will show in your account, and accordingly money will be taken from your account. You have sold share, they will debit from your account, and accordingly money will be sent in your account. That's how we got demat account, dematerialized account. This demat account can be opened only with the help of brokers. Any demat account is open with the help of brokers. Even bank can work as a broker, but there has to be someone who works as a middleman. Some agency. It may be a bank, it may be some other kind of agencies, but has to be someone in between. Someone in between who can contact these people. So your demat account is opened with the help of a broker. If bank, you can directly attach your bank. Let's say you are opening with ICICI demat. So ICICI bank account will be used here. Let's say you are opening with some other kind of broker. They will ask you which account you want to, and they will attach accordingly. And clarifications, your PAN card, etc., will be taken, and that's how you got your dematerialized account. Once you got demat account, that means now you are registered here, and your bank account is linked with it. So these brokers, with the help of whom you have opened the demat account, could be of two types. One is called full-time broker. Full-time broker. They are those who give you investment advices also, that what you should do, what you should not, and so and so. They give you investment advices also, that you should be investing here and so and so. There are discount brokers. Discount brokers. What are discount brokers? Discount brokers are those brokers who otherwise just work as an intermediary layer for you. They don't give you much of advice and all that. These days, as things are getting digital, many of the discount broker has come into the scene. One discount broker which made a fortune this year was called Jarodha Group, that belongs to the Kamath family. Kamath, big name into business world in India, had been in various banks. You might have heard of the Kamath committee also after COVID. Recently, he has been made head of this NABF, that big bank which is made for financing infrastructure development. So, obviously belonging to the same family, they got some advantage. So they made one company called Jarodha. Jarodha has emerged this time. So Jarodha, OnePaisa.com, ThisPaisa.com, you might have heard a number of names. They are called discount brokers. Discount broker do not give you investment advisors. They just do operate your Demat account on your behalf. That's it. And they take some charges for it. Right? So, somebody is saying, sir, talk about Demat again. So what is Demat? It is made up of two words: dematerialized account. Dematerialized account, Demat. That means an account will be opened where no physical delivery of the share will be given. But on behalf of this account, shares will be taken or given in here. So you purchase a share, CDSL, NDSL will have your Demat account and will accordingly credit or debit share into that. So Demat account is that account which is used for dematerial transaction of shares with the help of depository participants. We have two major depository participants. So the moment you got your Demat account, in that you require your, they will ask your PAN number and they will open your e-locker also. So PAN number will be asked, your Demat account will be opened as per the regulation of SEBI, and a bank account will be linked. If the bank itself is offering you Demat, they will automatically link the bank account. And then this will be opened in a depository participant where you got a Demat account, and in this account now you can buy and sell the share. In the evening, whatever you have purchased and sold will be kept. Clear? And accordingly the money will be credited from your account or debited in your account, etc., etc. Fine? So Anju and Sweta, I hope it's clear to you what is Demat. Now, I will come to this little later. Let's understand one more thing. When IPO is issued, whenever an IPO is issued, to whom it can be issued? We have several types of investors. One is called qualified investor. Qualified investor. Qualified investor. So when we say qualified investor, for them, we use the term is called qualified institutional buyer. So the official term for them is QIB. They are the qualified investors. That means if I start a company, I will ask some of the investors that why don't you buy my company's IPO? They will be given the first preference. This is where Jhunjhunwala comes, or other Gupta, Shrim, big shots. So if I am starting a company, Sunil Private Limited, who are going to be qualified institutional buyer? That detail is provided in the prospectus, so that we can cross-check whether the things are clear or not. So the information of QIB has to be given in the red herring prospectus whenever you are issuing IPO. So let's say I will ask Jhunjhunwala, sir, would you like to buy, or some kind of thing? So they will offer something or whatever the deal is. So we got the first category of investor, that is called qualified institutional buyer. Of the total IPO, 50% goes to them. Half of it goes to them. So if I issued IPO of 10,000 crore, 5,000 crore will go to them. They could be one or more than one. They could be one or more than one. So 50% of the share will go to these investors. They are called qualified institutional buyer, and their information has to be provided into red herring prospectus. So once the information given, SEBI can cross-check whether they are really interested or not, or what is the case, why it is so, etc., etc. So that's how we got qualified institutional buyer, or QIB. In the QIB, there will be a big one. So let's say I have 5 QIBs, and to them I had given half of 50% of my IPO. I gave 50% of my IPO to them. I have 5 QIBs into that. Maybe one of them, which is having almost 60% of that 50%, that means of 5,000, the 60%, that may be, you can say 3,000 crore. So if my total IPO was 10,000 crore, 5,000 will be given to QIB. In that one fellow who is having 3,000 crore is called anchor investor. This is where, these big names come, anchor investors. So anchor investors are those investors who purchase sizable IPO, and the detail is provided into the red herring prospectus. So that's how we got qualified institutional buyer. They buy the IPO. Then we got non-institutional buyer. Non-institutional buyer. They are those who are going for, non-institutional buyer are those who are going for, let's say, 2 lakh and above. If they are purchasing of the share more than worth 2 lakh of a given company, then we call them non-institutional buyer, but a significant one. Of the total IPO, 15% is allotted to them. And then third, we got what we are called retail investors. Retail investors. In this, we can buy. So that's how we got retail investors, non-institutional buyers, and qualified institutional buyer. And within the qualified institutional buyer, the one with 60% is called anchor investor. So that's how we got what is called, and all these provisions, how it will be there, what kind of percentage it will be there, that is mentioned into the IPO itself. Once IPO given, now we can purchase accordingly this, in the secondary market, the share and all. Any investor, look, any investor when want to purchase in the secondary market, share is purchased and sold. It might be the case that on the same day you have purchased and sold. On the same day you have purchased and sold. In the morning I purchased, in the evening I sold. This is called intraday trading. Intraday trading. Intraday trading. And in the evening, in the evening they will look into that whatever, let's say today when market started at 9:15, I purchased 100 share, sold 60, 1,000 share of something else, sold 500, 600, sold already existing share, etc., etc. So whatever total share purchase and sale in that day, that is called intraday, within one day, if in the morning I'm purchasing and the evening I'm settling. If not, then we call it that you got delivery of the share. You got delivery of the share, and in the evening, now CSDL will show this in your account, that you purchased this much of share or sold this much of share. On this we got a tax also called security transaction tax. STT is not applicable on intraday. It is 0.1% on buying and selling of the tax. STT, security transaction tax. It is not applicable on intraday. This statement has been asked, and it was absolutely right. That STT is not applicable on intraday. So if you're purchasing within the day, it is not applicable. So that's how we got what is called a tax also, which is applicable only when delivery is done. So we got these kind of big investors. In the secondary market, people may buy and sell share. Again, like I got my demat account, my broker, with the help of my broker, I can buy and sell the share on intraday or long term, etc., whatever I want to. Generally, we use the term trader for those who are buying and selling it for shorter period of time, and investor for those who are taking it for longer period of time. That's how the difference is called, trader and investor. So you got these kind of, we have one more kind of investor, which may be in primary market, in the retail, and in the secondary market also. They are called jobbers. Jobbers are those who are directly there in the stock market and buying and selling on the daily basis, or maybe holding it. Harshad Mehta was initially one jobber actually. That's how he started his career. So jobber are those who are having, they are directly purchasing and selling either intraday or for longer basis, whatever. So that's how we got these kind of investment. Is that clear? NSDL is actually Tijori, a kind of repository for one stock exchange called National Stock Exchange. CDSL is another kind of depository participant for Bombay Stock Exchange. That's how we got two major exchange in India is there. One is Bombay Stock Exchange, which is very old. National Stock Exchange was introduced in 1992. We have two major stock exchange in India where you can get listed. So if you're listed with BSE, your company, if you're purchasing anything from BSE listed companies, you have to go to CDSL. You have to purchase anything from National Stock Exchange listed company, you have to go with NSDL. That's all. So we have two depository participants. So this is how we got when we talk about this concept of where there could be various types of investors. Now, sometime you also hear a term called bull investors, bear investors. Bull investors are those who buy that share which they think will increase. Like I think that Reliance share will increase, so I bought it. And when it increased, I sold it, I booked profit. That's bull investors. Most of the investors, most of the new players in the market, they are bull investors. However, there's another category called bear investors. This is something which are unique. As I told you, I can buy and sell the product within the day several times. So in the morning, if I'm of the opinion that this share may go down, and I sold it at this price, say 1,000 rupees. And by the evening, the price has gone to 600 rupees. I already sold it with my, obviously my money is there with the demat, so that's not a problem. So I sold it at 1,000 rupees in the morning. And in the evening, it gone up to 600 rupees. And finally, in the evening, whatever the value, that will be considered while the settling. So I booked 400 rupees profit. This is something which needs expertise. These kind of investors are called bear investors, very dangerous. And that's how we call bull cartel, bear cartel, and these kind of things in the stock market. You're not going to that far, that's not needed here. But you should be knowing bull investors are those who are booking profit by when a share is price is increasing. Bear investors are those who are booking profit when the share price is going down. That's how we got, and both cartel work. There are different cartels. They have different style. Jhunjhunwala for a time being, let's say till 2010, he was more into, and still his approach is more into the bear investor kind of. So, though I'm too small a fish to comment upon these big people, but I'm just giving an example for my students' sake. That's it. So this is how, when it comes to, we got these various types of investors. So investor can invest via demat account. Demat account is linked with the bank, and this demat account is linked with a depository participant enlisted by SEBI. We have two major one, CDSL and NSDL, and whatever purchase and sale of the share you are doing is enlisted here. They are called depository participants. So that's how we got, the qualified investor buyer, anchor buyer within that, non-institutional buyer, and then we got what is called, this is retail investors. Then we got jobbers, then we got what is called bear investor, bull investor. Sometime we also use a term called tank investor. Tank is when sudden bear happened. जब market बहुत तेजी से लुढ़क जाए, when it's gone sharply down, then we call it tank investor. That's how the term is used. When we say market is tanking, that means it's falling like pack of cards. Then we use the term tanking. So that's how we got these kind of things. Like today when Tata, because look, that's how the people do. Today in the morning we got the news that Glasgow had said that coal should be phased out systematically. Those companies who are working on the coal-based energy, suddenly their prices has got a bearish trend today. So in the morning, many people might have sold with the position, and by the evening, they might have booked profit. That's how people do that. They are called traders. Obviously, that call for expertise, information, and so and so. In the business world, we call information is money. It's all. But getting information in the wrong way is something which is called internal insider trading, and that is punishable offense. In India, SEBI makes it very clear that insider trading is not allowed. You can use logic, but not insider trading. So this is how we got, when we talk about how we got this situation. Now, what if I don't know all these things and still I want to invest in the market? Is there any option? Yes, there's an option. And that option is called mutual fund. Mutual fund. So what is mutual fund? Mutual fund is when I don't know much about it. So what I'll do, I'll give some money to my broker. It could be bank, it could be anyone. And I'll say, boss, take my money and invest on my behalf, as per your understanding. So let's assume, let's assume I know about the stock market, you don't know. And I'm enlisted with this, SEBI, as per the regulation of the mutual fund. You will give money to me. On your behalf, your money, my own money, putting together, I will invest into various options, debt instruments, equity, share, this and that. And whatever profit will book, will share accordingly. So mutual fund is did you know why the term mutual is called now? Mutual is because it's your money, my money, and I'm investing it. Market risk is there. That's why you hear that line, mutual fund, they are subjected to market risk, invest carefully. Risk is there, but I know more, let's say, I know more than you, so I might invest the money in better way. So it is advised to the people by the SEBI and others that if you don't know about the stock market, better you go with the mutual fund route. Because those who are in the mutual fund, they try to neutralize the impact by having something in the debt instrument, something into the saved investment, something into what is called little risky investments, so and so. So that's how we got mutual fund. There's another thing that you can say that, boss, from my account, whatever my bank account is, take some money. Let's say I say to my bank, my account is with ICICI, I say to the bank, every month take 10,000, 15,000 from my account and put it into a stock market in mutual fund and accordingly give me the profit. So if I'm saying though that take my money, certain amount, let's say 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, whatever, systematically. So we call it SIP, Systematic Investment Plan. It is often advised to the people that you should go for SIP and mutual funds. We are also trying to develop, because in the mutual funds we have seen sudden rise. People are interested into that. In the recent 1 year, I can see that mutual fund market has jumped like anything. In fact, today the data has also been given in Economic Times. That's why we are saying we need some rating for mutual fund agencies also, so that investors are knowing it well, which mutual fund is good, where they should go, etc., etc. So that's how we got systematic investment plan, mutual funds. They are also investors, but they are those investors who are not knowing the market, so they prefer on expertise advice. That why don't you put on behalf, and whatever profit is, that will share. There may be losses, but chances are definitely minimized than being directly into what is called the fragility of it. Systematic investment plan, which is advised these days to those who are with relatively lesser income or those who are youngsters, that they should have this kind of investment. Some money should go in investment. So the right way is get some money in your debt instruments like FD, etc. Get some money into this systematic investment plan, so that you make a good investment portfolio. So that's how we got when we talk about what could be various types of investors. I hope it's clear to you. So Anju is asking insider trading. Insider trading is like, let me give an example. What Harshad Mehta did was an example. He deliberately asked MRF Tires, the greatest victim. He asked MRF Tires fellow that why MRF owner was having huge partnership with himself. Let's say MRF company was having let's say 100 shares or something. Now almost 70-80% share owner himself was having, with this impression that only rest of the 10-15% will float in market. Harshad Mehta asked to the fellow, why you are doing it? If you are going for more share in the market, floating, people will purchase it. I will also purchase, people will also purchase, and in that case, your share price will go up in the secondary market. When the share price will go up, your other share price which you are holding will go up. Now something insider happened, a conspiracy happened. It was not natural. These kind of things are called insider trading. And UPSC, I'm saying, SEBI, look, saying again, SEBI is, very clear that insider trading in India is a punishable offense. It's a punishable offense. We are very clear that we do not entertain insider trading. There might be countries where it is allowed, but in India we say insider trading is something which is not allowed, which is an illegal offense. And if any ounce of doubt is there, the company can be blacklisted, the concerned parties might be subjected to jail. So that's how we got it. All right, so most of you are saying it's clear. All right, Shantanu is asking that you have said delivery, etc. I purchased share in the morning at 9:15. The market started. I purchased the share. At 3:30 in the evening, market closed. Before that, I sold the share. This entire is called position. I purchased in the morning, sold in the evening. And this way, within 1 day, that is intraday, within 1 day, I purchased and sold. I did the trading. Profit or loss, I did it. Now, 3:30 market closed. Still I have share with me. That means now it will be showing in my account, and that's why it's called delivery. So it will be shown in my CSDL account now that I got this share. So that's how we got intraday trading and we got delivery. On intraday trading, STT is not applicable. While once delivery is given, then you have to give 0.1% tax called security transaction tax, or STT. So that's the reason why people, there are a lot of people, they do intraday. They purchase in the morning, whatever profit or loss, they sell it before market closes. That's how we got what is called intraday trading. I hope it's clear. Can government officials indulge in stock market? Yes, anyone can do. There's nothing wrong that they cannot. Anyone can go for it. Not a, because it's an investment option, and everyone has a right to invest. Obviously, you cannot get into insider trading. That is something which will be punishable. But anyone can do it. There is no such obligation per se that who cannot. However, there might be certain rules and regulations for different categories to getting this or not. But everything is under scanner. We are working on wonderful platforms, keeping almost eye on every transaction. So it hardly matters. Even it would be wrong to say that government officials cannot get into that. But there might be certain clauses, certain restrictions and caveats. Depending upon department-wise, case-wise, but you have asked a very common question, can government officials? Yes, they can. But maybe certain departments, certain positions might be exempted for it. How people become bankrupt when they go for the wrong calculation and the risky investments. If you thought it will go up this share and you purchased and it gone down, obviously you are you're losing the money. That's how it is. That's how people that's how people lose money. That's how people gain money in the stock market, in the trading. All right. Now, so this was about So this is how, when we talk about what is this, how you can seek investment. So you understood debt instrument, you understood how the companies can get, what are shares, etc., and who are potential investors. Now let's see how SEBI regulates it, what are the dimensions. But before that, let's write a few things. So at least let's finish that investment part from the company side, then we'll write investor. So you have written IPO, FPO. Now you can write further, and I think rights issues also. Now next is sweat equity or sweat share, and implies stock ownership plan. Implies stock ownership plan, ESOP, or ES options is also called as ESOP, implies stock ownership plan. It refers to those shares or equity, which are given by the company to its employees, as part of dividend incentive. As employees get ownership in this, they feel more attached to the company. Although the term sweat equity and ESOP are used interchangeably, but they slightly differ from each other. While sweat equity is related to intellectual property matters, some specialization, etc. Intellectual property matters. ESOP is direct incentive. Next you can write that. Penny share. It refers to those shares whose face value is very low. In comparison of average face value. In comparison of average face value. Fine. Then next, bonus shares. It refers to those shares which are given by company. It refers to those shares which are given by its company which are given by a company to its existing stakeholders, in place of dividend, in place of dividend, in place of dividend. The next, share split. It refers to that situation, where an existing share is further subdivided. That situation where an existing share is further subdivided. So in that case, new lot will be issued, further subdivided. Next, share buyback. Share buyback. Share buyback. It refers to that situation where the issuing company buys back its shares. Buys back its shares. And often is done to reduce flotation. Done to reduce flotation. So now you have written seeking investment. Now you can give the heading the investors. The investors. To invest any investor needs a demat account, be it in primary market, secondary market, everywhere. Any investor need a demat account. Demat account. That stands for dematerialized account. Dematerialized account. It is an account existing in non-material form. Non-material form. Associated with any given depository participant or clearing house. Depository participant or clearing house. So, depository participants are those custodians who in principle have all the shares or debt instruments with them and whenever anyone purchases or sell these instruments, whenever anyone sell or purchases these instruments, be it debt or share, are accordingly debited and credited in their demat, are accordingly debited and credited in their demat. These demat accounts are associated with a attached bank account, and a permanent account number or PAN, PAN card as you call it. It's a 10-digit alphanumeric number or PAN. If you want, you can write in bracket that PAN is a 10-digit alphanumeric number or alphanumeric identity. PAN is a 10-digit alphanumeric identity registered with government, Ministry of Finance particularly, registered with government. To get a demat account, it is imperative to go through a broker. Which may be a full-time broker, in bracket, the one which also give advices of investment. Also give advices on investment, or a discount broker, the one who facilitate the demat, the one who only facilitate the demat, Fine. There are two depository participants. First, Central Depository Services Limited, CDSL. Central Depository Services Limited, CDSL. Which works with BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange. And second is National Securities Depository Limited, or NSDL. NSDL, which works with NSE, NSE, National Stock Exchange. Fine. So that's how we got these things. Now, next heading you can give types of investors. Types of investors. First, qualified institutional investors. Qualified institutional investors. They are the preferred investor in IPOs. They are the preferred investor in IPOs. And are given 50% of the IPO. 50% of the IPO. 50% of the IPO. Second is anchor investor. Anchor investor. Anchor investor. It refers to that qualified institutional buyer. It refers to that qualified institutional buyer. That qualified institutional buyer who gets 60% of QIB quota. 60% of QIB quota. 60% of QIB quota. Second is, and now the third is non-institutional buyer. Non-institutional buyer. Non-institutional buyers. They are those who get second most preference in IPO. And are investing for more than 2 lakh in any given IPO. Investing for more than 2 lakh in any given IPO. Any given IPO. Third, or in the non-institutional you also can write that 15% of IPO is allotted to them. 15% of IPO is allotted to them. Next, retail investors. Retail investors. Retail investors. It refers to the common investors. And 35% of IPO is offered to them. Is offered to them. So that's how we got them. Then we got this, in the secondary market, jobbers, bull investors, bear investors. Somebody was saying bear investor, you need more clarification. Then what is mutual fund, SIP? There's one thing these days very getting common called small cases. What is that? So that we'll write tomorrow because time is up. So tomorrow we'll write, it may take 5-10 minutes, and then we'll move towards what is this Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange. There are some other stock exchanges, how they operate. What is this SEBI, how it works, and what are the, some of the, major development across the globe in this stock market thing. So most probably tomorrow we will be done with this chapter, and then we'll move towards the next chapter, that is balance of payment and so and so. I hope the class was productive for you, and really I'm thankful for you to listening me so carefully. I know time is up. So this is it for today, and I hope you got benefited from this class. Thank you.